She was attacked in New York for seemingly no reason. And she's lucky. All this guy apparently did was, it looks like he smacks her butt and then hits her again, knocking her down. And she's lucky that's all that happened. Because we have already seen tons of stories. We already have these young women whose lives were taken from them. You had this young woman on the train in Chicago who was immolated. And so this story, I do think, needs to be covered. And I do think it needs to be said over and over again to young women, particularly. You are not safe in these major cities. Police are underfunded, defunded. The politicians in New York, LA, Chicago, Seattle, Portland, many of these major cities don't want to deal with the crime. And the judges are going to release the criminals anyway. So in the case of Chicago, this man had been arrested reportedly 72 times before getting out and dousing a young woman with gasoline. Right now, we have this culture that somehow simultaneously allows criminals, violent criminals, out of jail while telling young women everything's safe and you're going to be fine. Now, listen, maybe it's because we had this period where every little thing a guy would do was considered harassment. If he said, ma'am, they were like, oh, how dare you say these things to me? I'm not exaggerating. You had that video, was it like 10 hours of walking through New York as a woman, where they were complaining largely about, you know, some of it was stupid. Like a guy walked with them and it was creepy. But there's one where a guy's like, have a nice day. And they're like offended by that. Now, we have these stories of young women being maimed, murdered, or worse. You say worse than murdered? Yeah, raped, tortured, and then murdered. So yeah, there's horrifying stories. But this young woman posted the video, and we can actually, I can play it for you and show you what went down. And she breaks down the story and then shows what happened. So let's zoom in and we'll hear from her what happened. But I'm going to pause real quick to give a shout out to this video's sponsor, AmericanFinancing.net. Check out AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. The Fed just dropped interest rates again, and that's really great news for American homeowners. If you're feeling overwhelmed thinking about the upcoming holidays, there's no better time now to get your finances in order. It's hard to think about the holidays when everything's really expensive and your credit cards are already pushed to the max. With rates dropping now, now is the time to pay off that debt. American Financing is helping homeowners access the equity in their homes for instant savings. They're saving people like you an average of $800 a month. And many are seeing rates in the low fives. That's a game changer compared to those sky-high credit cards. And if you start today, you may be able to delay 2 or more mortgage payments, giving you extra breathing room for the holidays. It costs absolutely nothing to find out how much you can save. The holidays are going to be here before you know it, so don't wait. Call their salary-based mortgage consultants today. American Financing at 866-890-7811. That's 866-890-7811, or visit AmericanFinancing.net/Tim. But now, let's get back to the story.
So I just watched the footage of my assault, and I'm gonna say it's definitely violent. Thank you so much, my best friend Summer, for literally going to the liquor store where it happened in front of and getting the surveillance footage of the assault. Like, I'm shocked I even got this. I have sent it to NYU security, and they're forwarding it to the police, and it actually is the guy that has been assaulting many girls around campus right now. He is a tall white male with long brunette hair and a long brunette beard, and is wearing gray sweatpants and a big black puffer jacket and a blue towel around his neck. So if you see him, please call 911 and report him to the police, because they are looking for him, because he has done this to so many girls, and this is like disgusting. So I'm just gonna say, like, trigger warning, because like it's honestly a really hard watch. Like, just I mean for me, just because it like happened to me, but like just like watch if you're interested, but like it's definitely.
Yo, look, I'm trying to be sympathetic to these young women and these vicious animals that are attacking them, these serious crimes, but y'all, lady, this is the insanity of liberal urban women. Okay, with all due respect, no one should attack her. She needs to be safe. We need real policies. But if we simultaneously have urban liberal women saying it's a trigger warning, it's traumatizing, a guy hit me. It's like, okay, I've been hit many times and gotten into fights and, broken bones skateboarding. It's one thing if he tried to murder you, to be traumatized by. It's another just to be generally angry that it's happening and to call like, hey, police, we should do something about it. But my point is largely we have two sides of this liberal women coin. Let the criminals go. It's racist and unfair. And I'm traumatized because a guy from watching this video only. I'm like, anyway.
Not cute. So this is right before it all happened. So I circled where I'm walking. I just...
It's really hard to see this version. There's a clearer version here. So let's, sorry.
The right side of Broadway, and then you can see that he literally followed me across the street, and that's him right there, and he literally targets me and approaches me and does this.
So I'm not sure if he hit her in the butt, but we'll freeze frame real quick. It looks like he goes for it looks like he slaps her ass.
This.
She then notices, and then it looks like he grabs her and throws her down. So again, not trying to
the street, and I'm walking
excuse
down.
this, but I just want to hear what, she has more in this video.
You can tell literally everyone around is literally in shock. These girls don't know what to do. It's so terrible. And then they thankfully helped me up and asked if I was okay. And then you can see the man was asking if I was okay. And then later on, he helped me call the police.
I'm glad she's advocating for calling the police.
I just really want to emphasize how not okay this is. I am a student at NYU. I should not be scared to be walking the street to go to my 9:30 a.m. class.
Indeed.
These people are disgusting, and they should not be able to be walking around the street freely, targeting girls and doing this, because I heard that this guy did this a month ago. That is not okay. We need to get these people. That's not okay. I'm honestly still in shock, but I'm more enraged that things like this are able to happen in this city, and we really need to do something about it because this is unacceptable. This just shows that you really need to reflect on who you're voting for and supporting right now, because New York needs help, and we're just not getting the help we need, and this is crazy.
Hey, I like it, but is she going to go and advocate for, policing and actual arrests and jailing of individuals? Because she's right. It's crazy to me that we live in this world that over the past, it's the feminist generation. Women are now waking up to the reality of the world. There's this analogy. They say a man builds a fence around his home to protect his wife from the wolves. One day, the wolf comes to the gate and says, "Why did your husband lock you up?" And she says, "Hey, wait a minute. You're right. He has locked me up." So she tears the fences down and is immediately mauled to death by the wolf. And that's what I feel like we've experienced over the last 30 years. This narrative of, especially in the last 10 years, maybe you should teach men not to rape. Yeah, they know they can't rape. They go to prison for it. They're going to do it anyway. This is retardation. This, maybe you should teach men not to rape, is the same thing as we should ban guns because criminals have guns. Clearly, they don't care what you tell them. This man knows what he's doing is illegal. They know they don't care. A bear is hungry, it's going to eat. It doesn't care if you will retaliate if it's starving. This is the insane reality of modern politics. That for a generation, young women were told, you could have it all. And that's not just about a career and a family. It's about the idea that you could walk around safely. Now, the truth is men are more likely to be victims of violent crime. Fact. But men are also going to be more resilient to that violent crime. So, I believe it's like 5-1. Men are substantially more likely to be victims of violent crime. But this is probably beef-related crime. In terms of random street crime, I don't know if the numbers fall the same way. I know that men are still more likely to be, but it probably, I would imagine women are more likely to get like robbed or mugged. Men are more likely to get into like gang conflict. So we see a lot of that. Like if a dude's going to try and rob someone for money, why rob a dude who can fight back? They're going to rob a lady who's just going to give up and surrender. The truth is this. The world has always been dangerous, and men have always protected women. Women are substantially more important in the evolutionary scale because they make people. Men contribute to the making of people too, but one guy can have 100 babies in a month. If there's enough women. But a woman can only have one baby every 9 months, and sometimes twins or more, but typically only about one baby. So women have always been more important for the survival of humanity, and men have always protected them. And there are other men that are predators, and there are animals that are predators, and there are dangers, and there's wind, and there's storms, and there's rain. And so a society was built by men who said, we have to protect women. Unfortunately, at some point, we built up these barriers in society. And there were industry standards, there were economic reasons, and they said, you know what, we should put women in the workforce and double our economic output to compete with the communists or something like that. And now we have no families, and now we have no kids. Women were told you can have it all and be anything, and they're getting raped, murdered, and killed in the streets, and they're voting for politicians. Yes, it's largely women voting for these politicians for open border policies that have resulted in the death of so many. The sad reality is that young woman that was immolated in Chicago had a profile picture that said Black Lives Matter. And these very ideas and policies resulted in this man who immolated her being released from jail despite being reportedly arrested 72 times. But I'm not ragging on this young lady here. She says pay attention to who you're voting for because we need help and we're not getting it. The only problem is when she mentions the trigger warnings, I wouldn't be surprised if what she's saying is she wants social workers. I don't know what she's actually advocating for. Just that we got to vote better, sure. But is she going to be one of these lefties who says we should get rid of the police and have mental health workers to help this poor man? Or is she going to be a young far right who says this guy should be locked up for life? The reality is it's not going to be right wing. No right wing person says trigger warning, a guy hits me. They say a guy hits me in this video. There's nothing graphic about it. There's no blood. It's not traumatizing. I don't understand how we've allowed all of this. I don't understand how we've allowed it to get to this point. But it's going to change because the attitudes of women are going to change when they start becoming more and more victims. They get what they want. They voted for these guys to be released from jail. They're being released from jail, and now they won't be safe. So what do? I guess slowly over time, we're going to change things back. The incentive structure will change, and maybe we'll pull through. But it is what it is. I'll leave it there. Smash that like button. Share the show. Stay tuned. More to come. Timcast IRL at 8. More videos coming up. We got one at 4 p.m. at youtube.com/Timcast, rumble.com/The Culture War, and we'll see y'all then.